brought my scooter out of the garage because my dogs need some exercise. And this is how I give it to them. Fully charged battery. Chase them around. I use this when I have to go long walks. Since my wife is sick, I haven't used it because I used it on piers and stuff to go fishing. Now I use it to play with the dogs because they need exercise. You see them? There's the Big Daddy. There's Mommy trying to catch me. Huh? My little girl chicken. Here comes Daddy again. That's the Mommy. She bites at the back of it. He does too. They've been laying around all winter, so you can see I just had my man paint my lifts here. I want to show you a few items that I've acquired in the last 30 years. It's the 1926 Model T Ford. It's got the biggest cubic inch motor of all my cars. See that motor? It's a 355 cubic inch. Let me go, and you don't need a battery, you can crank it there. Let me open the other side of the hood to show you more of the motor. Yeah, it's a 4-cylinder, but it's a 355. I restored it back in 1993 when my business was rocking and rolling. It's got wood floors in it, a dash, and I broke the speedometer at 65. See the 65? It's stuck there. Right now I'm charging the battery so I don't have to crank it because I can't crank it. This was called a two-door sedan because it was two-door. This is my 68 Nova. It's a 4-door, so it's not worth very much either. I had another 4-door that I drove from 1990 to 2005 that the body fell apart on. I put this interior from that car that I had custom made for it. Same exact car, 68 Nova in 1990. This has a 53,000 original miles. Straight 6. I took it to Ocean City, did the speed limit, and got 34 miles to a gallon with a 2-speed Paraglide. The motor needs a little steam cleaning, but that's okay. I paid $2,000 for it. Now my pickup truck you see pictures of. This is my pickup truck that I restored. I'm not finished restoring it. I just had the deck repainted again because of the new wood. And I did a lot of interior work. But if you notice, I still have to fix rust. I don't have the money to pay a guy to come over and spend hours hand sanding all this interior. And I got a panel I got to weld on there for the radio because somebody knocked a hole in it. I've spent thousands of dollars on restoring this so far. The motor was just rebuilt 200 miles ago, but it was put in like 2 or 3 years ago from Jackson Motor Shop. Outstanding business over there by Linthicum. It's called Jackson Motors. Family owned and operated business for years now. If you notice, this is a straight 230. The Nova was a 256. They're basically the same block, it's just the stroke of the pistons are different. People laugh when I told them that motor mounts used to break and the motor flipped sideways, so the Federal Transportation Commission demanded them to be recalled. You know what Chevy did? They put a chain so if the motor mount breaks, the motor can't flip sideways on you and cause an accident. 2 little chains on either side. That was their recall. Would people go by this today? Probably not, but it worked. It stopped the motors from turning sideways when the motor mount breaks. Because the motor will rotate sideways when you step on the gas, which breaks the motor mount, and the motor turns sideways and then fall out of the truck and cause a major accident. So the chains did work, but would you accept it as a recall? You notice I've done the outside of the truck pretty well. It's got the original windshield. Most of the rest of it's been replaced. I've replaced doors, fenders, hoods, etc. on this. The body was original, but most of the side here was replaced. And where I welded it, it's starting to rust after 3 years. Cost me thousands of dollars to have this sandblasted down to bare metal and all of the bad spots fixed and big pieces big weld in. It got a lot of rust underneath. It isn't worth anything, but I love it. All 3 of them I love. My Model T is, there's so many millions of them restored now, and they only have 22 horsepower, even though they are a 355 cubic inch 4-cylinder motor. They're not very fast on the highway. Downhill, I have got up to 70. But with the wire wheels, my Model T Club said I was totally crazy because they're famous for collapsing if you hit a pothole or a little bump and flip the car over on you. Everything in the Model T came from the USA. The wool seat covers from our sheep, the metal from our mines, the copper, the aluminum, everything came from our own resources. The oil, the gas, the rubber, everything from USA. This was one of the last cars built 100% in the USA. If you notice on the radiator, and almost every part on the car is made in the USA. They haven't been able to say that legally since about the 1930s, because they started importing parts from Canada and Central and South America to build a Model T, and Europe. So I still love it. I still love to drive it. My wife joked with me with the Nova several years ago, I want a car with good heat and good air conditioning. So I bought the Model T and restored it in 1993. It has very good heat and very good air conditioning. Now she complains it's the wrong season. The heat from the motor comes right up through the wood floors and cooks you to death in the summer, and the cold air off the roads comes right up through the floors and freezes your feet in the winter. What else can you get? Good air conditioning, good heating. I don't matter if it's the wrong season. My wife does too. She wanted a good vehicle. So I bought a 99 4Runner, if you see up there. It's only a 2x4 and 4-cylinder. It makes 33 miles to a gallon. It has 150 horsepower. Then I bought a new one, 2010, 4-cylinder 2x4, which drops the weight almost 1,000 pounds, and it's got 157 horsepower, which is good fuel economy on that also. Not as much as the old 199 that makes 30-some miles to a gallon on the highway and 20-some around town. It makes about 5 to 10 miles a gallon less, but that's my two new vehicles that have good air conditioning. Thank you.